Hey everyone, Sophie's here today, and I want to give you a quick overview of the spoiled cards that we've had so far, as well as some of my thoughts on them. These are Targon cards, and we have a new mechanic called Invoke, and it is pick a celestial card from among 3 to create in your hand. So it's kind of like Discover if you played Hearthstone. But I really like these kind of mechanics because I feel like they reward good decision making and allow players to just have different scenarios all the time with still being skill intensive, but also making the game not feel repetitive. So of course that is an issue of like one of the Invoke cards is just like so much better than the other one. But overall, I like this mechanic a lot. I appreciate these type of mechanics, so I'm pretty excited about this. The Species Sketcher is a 1 mana, 1/1, and discard a card to invoke a celestial card that costs 3 or less. So this is narrowing the pool to even less cards, which we'll talk about the cost of the different cards here very soon. 1 mana, 1/1. This seems pretty good to me. Of course, discard doesn't always feel the greatest, but if you're discarding a card to get a better card, not a big deal, is it? And if you're discarding something like mushrooms or something, even better for the resource extension. 3 mana, 2/1 Nightfall, so this means it has to be played second. Daybreak is first, Nightfall is second. It's LoR Priestess, 2/1. This feels like a very slow card to me. Not quite sure how I feel about it. I don't know. It's really hard to say. And then we have the Solari, the Solari Priestess Daybreak. So it has to be played first. Invoke a celestial card that costs 4, 5, or 6. This kind of depends on how good these 4, 5, or 6 cards are to really see how good this card is, and we will be talking about some of those soon. Mountain Scryer. Your celestial cards cost 1 less Allegiance of Invoke. So it's same stat line as the Wayfinder, the Kinko Wayfinder from Ionia. Cost 1 less is pretty nuts for some combos. Allegiance Invoke is pretty nice. I feel like in a Targon deck this is going to be something that we see. I don't know. I can't actually say for sure, but I have this hunch that this is going to be a really good mechanic just because of how flexible it is. It just kind of has answers to everything, it feels like, with the right cards and a decent sized card pool too. Moondreamer, play Invoke, 5 mana, 3/5. 5 mana is a pretty slow card, pretty slow stat line overall, so I'm not sure how much we'll see that one. The stat line on it is okay, but it's just, 5 mana cards that don't do that much can be tough. Behold the Infinite Burst Invoke. I think this one's alright. I think turning spell mana into creature mana is really good, and this is what this allows to an extent. I mean, not quite, but it kind of does if it's rolled over the right way. And also, shout out to Cosmic Plays for making all these great graphics so I and other people can show our thoughts on these without just going card by card. And yeah, so all those is just me scrolling through his Twitter while looking at these. So these are the other ones, which we have, of course, still Invoke, still going. Species Sketcher, still there. I think that was I don't know. We'll move on to the next one, and you can see that a lot of these were not in English, and me being lame, I only understand one language, so that's why you see like these little like Photoshop bits. This is elusive, not evasion, but it's called evasion in other languages, which makes a lot of sense. It's actually, I like that name quite a bit. So Moonlight Burst, reduce the cost of a card in hand by 1. This seems like a combo oriented thing, and it's kind of cool in that way. I like the idea of it. It's going to be very situational when you actually pick this, though. Equinox, Silence a Follower, slow. I feel like this isn't one you're going to pick very often. It seems like worse than Guile in a lot of ways. I don't know. It's situational, but I don't see it happening all that often. Moonglow grants an ally +2 health and spell shield. This is a slow card, which makes it a little bit weird in some ways, but I feel like it has a lot of potential. I mean, adding it like Targon Fiora and giving Fiora that boost is pretty good to me, I think. I feel like there's gonna be, 2 mana, it's really hard for people to like wait on 2 mana too, but I feel like it's a pretty decent one. Crescent Strike, stun 2 enemies with a slow effect, so like Yone's a 7 mana, 6/6, stun 2 enemies. This one is just 3 mana. It's, once again, because these cards are so flexible and situational, I feel like this is going, it's going to have its time. That's how a lot of these cards are. They're not going to, I haven't seen a card where like, oh, this is always good every single time, except for maybe the Messenger, but We'll go on to the next card is the 0 mana 2/1, the Serpent or the Snake with Challenger. I think this is a great card. It costs 0 mana, and you're going to be able to flexibly, kill something off or move it to the side so they can't block a fearsome unit, or just lots of ways to use this card. Also, too, these arts are so pretty. Oh, I love the art. And then Charger, Overwhelm 4/1. This is a great finisher. It's going to be situational, like all these cards are. I should probably just stop saying they're going to be situational, because that's pretty much all of them. But pretty good finisher overall. Even at the 1 health, it's a 1 mana at worst. And then we have the Messenger. When I'm summoned, draw 1. I mean, this card, in most cases, you're going to be happy seeing that, because card advantage is insane. I mean, you're creating a card, and then you're drawing a card after that. Yep, card advantage is good, so I expect this card to be one of the ones that is picked fairly often. Trickster, Evasion. This one's very situational, where sometimes it's going to be you're finishing someone with this card because they're not running elusives and they don't have a way to deal with it, or you are using it defensively to fend off your opponent's elusives. It's going to have its time, and I expect it to be picked a little bit more than people are giving it credit for. Some people are like, oh, this card's not that good. I'm like, it's 3 mana 3/3 elusive. What? It always has its place. It's elusive. Next one. This is the Traveler, and this is to invoke when it is played. I think this one will be played a lot. The stat line is not that bad. This is not a bad stat line. 4 mana 3/4. It's pretty hard to deal with. It pretty much 2-for-1s most things, so I feel like that's a pretty good one, assuming that the Invoke is good. And then after that, we have Written in the Stars, which was Swimstream's card. It is a burst. Draw a champion, reduces cost by 1, and grants plus 2/2. I feel like this card is pretty good. It is not, giving you card value, but the things that buff champions are just pretty good. I mean, that makes them so much harder for them to be dealt with. Even though it's slow, you have to play pretty slow things. I feel like it's gonna be, I don't know. I could definitely be wrong on this, but I feel like it's going to have its place. And if not, it's certainly going to be good for some memes, I think. Meteor Shower. From what I understand, this cannot hit face, which is really important to understand. It's on the True Shot Barrage, it says enemy or the enemy nexus, so I guess I think it's weird because the nexus should be considered the enemy, right? But I guess it isn't. This is going to be another situational one. The fact that it is deal 4 and we have pretty much no deal 4 things makes us pretty sweet, I think. But 5 mana is very costly and slow is very costly. So I feel like it's not going to be one that you're picking all the time, but sometimes it's going to be your best friend. It's situational. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. 5 mana, 5/5 Challenger, the Warrior. Keep in mind that you are paying extra mana to get this in the first place. It's another situational card where you see maybe they have Ezreal and you want to grab Ezreal or something like that, or you just need a big body because you all have these like low cost cards and you need to do something. But I feel like it's fine. It's gonna be happened here and there. I don't think it's anything insane, but I feel like we're going to see it around, and it'll be interesting to see what the other higher cost celestial cards are. And at the time, that's all that I have to review. And I think a lot of these cards depend on how good celestial is and how good, in some cases, aggro, because these are all low tempo cards that are invoke cards that then get these higher tempo cards in some cases. Some of them are a little bit lower tempo, but celestial has to be in a certain meta, but it's a lot of value making. So I feel like Ezreal keeps this archetype down quite a bit. Obviously fast aggro does too. It's probably pretty decent in a mid-range meta, which we kind of expect. I think with Ezreal, if Ezreal were to be gone, I think this gets quite a bit better. Any kind of combo deck that is ending the game early, guess They Who Endure, I think, would do well against the Invoke decks as well because of how high tempo it is, plus the finisher that it has, the combo finisher. So I think there are supposed to be nerfs on Wednesday or Tuesday, or like right before, so that'll be really interesting if there are changes or if they're not. So that's generally my thoughts on these cards. I feel like Celestial is going to be decent because the devs obviously made these, well, not like recently, but they, they tested it and they want the new cards to be good and playable. So, I mean, Bilgewater was pretty decent. We don't see any Grizzled Rangers or anything at the time. Maybe Minter of Stones, but that's about all I have for you all. So I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. Bye, everyone.
That's how we do things in Bilgewater.